Good day, everyone. How's it going? It's Dave here with the Turn Giants. I have with me one of our regulars. You may have seen him around. He shows up, I don't know, on a weekly basis, I think. We got Frankie here. Frankie, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I try to come around every week if possible. Right now, not much or not working, so I can come around a little bit more. So I'm not doing too bad.
Nice, nice. All right. So what we're doing today is on the fly, we're going to look at and react to the EAFC 24 player ratings for Juventus. We're going to start right at the bottom, going to work our way up, uh, kind of build that anticipation to who you think, or I mean, if you know, yeah, you may have cheated, but if it's your first time, that anticipation of who might be our number one, our highest rated guy, according to the guys over at EA Sports. So, Frankie, I brought you on here specifically because you're captaining, heading up our pro teams that we're setting up on the next gen slash PC. So, Frankie, tell us a bit about that and how we're kicking that off.
Yeah. So this Friday's or upcoming Friday was early release for EAFC 24 or just FC 24, which I think people are calling it right now. But I'm planning on setting up the team for that. We're gonna get that all going. Join our Discord. You can see in the QR code in the top left. You can go ahead and scan that, and you can join on in. We have a Pro Clubs channel in there. You can head into there, go into the pinned comments, and you'll see my EA ID. You can just add that, or even when I set up the club, it'll be public, just under Turin Giants.
Yeah, so we hope to see you there. If you are one of those early birds, if you have the EA Pro or you got the Ultimate Edition, you can play that on the 22nd. That is Friday. I mean, join us. We want to build a team. We want to build a community. So just join us. Jump on in. I mean, it's open. It's free for everyone. No restrictions. I mean, barring people being ridiculous that we might have to do that, but we have not had to enforce anything yet. So it's free and open. Everything's good to go. So please join in, and we will start this off with our one and only bronze card, Garlafani, our next gen goalkeeper. He made the list because I guess they dressed three goalkeepers per team, so that makes sense. Or four? No, this would be our fourth. I misspoke there. So I mean, he made the team. Frankie, I mean,
Yeah, it's a big milestone, especially for a next gen player to be on. And this is just to be on a game in general. It's your very first card. All you want to do at this point is just improve on it after year.
yeah. So here he is. He makes it our only bronze. So that means next up, Nicolusi Caviglia, who, I mean, he's a next gen player, technically just making the first team in the preseason here, coming in at a 65. What do you think about that?
I think it's a pretty fair rating. He's been doing well for the next gen. He came in during the preseason, played some pretty good minutes for the team. I think it's a pretty fair assessment of his rating.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's fair.
that's pretty fair. Nice, good card for him.
So it's, I mean, speaking of kids coming in, getting their face into a big EA title, I'm loving this kid right now. I want to see him more. We saw him in the preseason. 65 is, I mean, that's decent for just sliding in there. Man, love it. Want to see more. I expect he's going to have a lot of potential on this one. Like he can be somewhere in the 80s, right? That's what you want to see. But coming up the deck, we have Illing Jr. at a 71. I think maybe a little low.
I think it's pretty low, and that pace, the guy's pretty
Yeah.
much all speed.
Yeah.
That's a little low. I think he has to be minimum in the upper 80s for his pace, and rating
Mhm.
probably like around 75.
I think that's fair. Even like a 73 would say okay, he's getting there. I think 71 still, especially how much the Premier, and that's the thing in the Premier League talks about players, they tend to get noticed a bit more. So I'm a little surprised with that. So yeah, I'd say 73 to 75 is probably fair enough. So let's see who beats him out next. Our old boy, Carlo Pinsolio, our third goalkeeper. I mean, we love him. I think this is a pretty good rating for him. It might even be somewhat generous since he
Yeah,
literally never plays.
I think it's a pretty generous rating. Uh, for literally a guy that doesn't even play. But I mean, you got to realize he's so much more than a player.
Yeah.
On especially for Juve, and I think EA respects the veterancy a little bit.
Yeah, I feel that they do, and we'll get into discussion about how they respect or don't respect that later. I think there might be a couple controversial things, but we'll move on. 74, Timmy Weah. I'm a little surprised that he's at a 74 personally. Frankie, you're American. I don't know. How does this feel?
I mean, Timmy Weah has been solid for national team. Now starting with us, he's been doing really good. But you got to realize he was at Lille, and that's pretty much where this rating's coming from. His majority is his Lille career.
Yeah,
And
maybe his passing is
yeah,
low. Yeah.
his passing's a little low. I think pace is pretty fair. Rating, I think it's a pretty good rating for the way he was playing at Lille and for the U.S. national team. But definitely after this season, I can see him going up to like at least minimum, like maybe like an 80 rated card if he continues to play the way he's been playing.
80. Yeah, I mean, 80 would be pretty decent. We'll see who our 80s are. I think that's actually quite achievable. But I think I would touch him up a point or two to 75, 76 personally. Just the passing there. Yeah, just a touch higher maybe. He's shown that he can defend all right. So I don't know. Just a small touch, but we'll move on. Another 74, another one of our wing backs is Cambiasso. So, yeah, same as Weah?
I don't know if they're exactly the same. I mean, he played pretty decently when he was on loan last season. I think he played well. But I don't know if he's the same as Weah. I would probably have him 73 if you're going to have Weah 74 because I feel like he's just a touch underneath Weah. Okay. And that physicality, I feel like, is a little low as well.
Yeah, I think the defending is a little low as well because that's what he's a little bit better at. That he's only slightly better than Weah in the defense department, even though I thought Weah should have been slightly higher. So in that case, yeah, I think Cambi also should. Yeah, defense physicality maybe be better. I can see that. Pace is probably accurate. He's not super speedy.
Yeah, I don't mind the dribbling and passing either. I think that's pretty fair for where he's at right now.
Yeah. Okay, so no huge arguments there. 75, we're getting into the gold cards. We got Daniele Rugani, our stalwarts, Walgani, if you will.
Yeah, Rugani is 75 rated. He actually got a downgrade from last year, which it makes sense. He kind of just came in whenever he was needed. It was a very, very like fourth string center back for us at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's probably bang on, really. I can't contest that at all. He shows up, does a job, and that's what a 75 rated player is just someone that can come on and do a job when asked to do so. Let's move on. Rugani. Okay. Moretti, the youngest, really, regular starter for the team, at least. So not bad for. Has he reached 20 years old yet, or is he about to anyways?
I think he's about to be.
Yeah, so I think that's decent for a 20-year-old, a 75. I'm actually pretty excited about that.
Yeah. So one of the new things they introduced into the Ultimate Team for FC24 this year is a thing called Evolutions, where if your player meets a certain requirement, you can upgrade them throughout the year to become better and better cards. Moretti's going to be a card that I probably think I'll probably be working on to try to get him higher rated, him and Gatti for sure.
Nice. Yeah, well, we'll get to Gatti. I mean, what you're already talking about him. I understand. You're his number one fan, but we'll get there. Weston McKennie at a 76. That's pretty decent.
I think this is a pretty good card. It pretty much depicts McKennie perfectly. He's an all-rounder. He can do everything.
Yeah, just 70s across the board there. So, I don't know. Maybe there's an argument to how he played, just recency bias in that Lazio game.
Yeah.
Maybe he should be more of an 80, but
Last season, he also did play kind of average. When he went to Leeds, he wasn't doing the best
Yeah.
there. Um,
So this is the more realistic, but again, with maybe some potential.
Definitely.
Okay, who beats out McKenny? There he is. Also out of 76. I shouldn't say beats him out, but your boy, Gattino. Take it away,
Yeah.
Frankie.
Yeah, so Gatti, I think it's a pretty fair card. He played pretty much first team all last year whenever he was healthy. Uh, the defending, I think, is pretty fair. Physicality, I think, is a little bit higher because he's a pretty strong guy.
Yeah. His dribbling, his dribbling.
His dribbling got to be higher. Dude's over here doing. He's doing. Going down the entire right wing and just taking on defenders, doing McGeady spins and just, bro.
It's ridiculous. And you can say his pace. I mean, he doesn't look pretty doing it, but his pace, at least give him a 70. Those long legs can move that large body. He does have a bit of pace into him. He's not a sprinter, but I think he got gypped a little bit. Honestly, I think he should be a solid 78. Man, I thought you would be fanboying all over this, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be kind of fair about it. You know, I've realized he had a really good season, especially it's his breakout season for the team. But he was just recently a Serie B player, and I think they take kind of into account in the way the season ended for the team in general, as well as part of the ratings. Usually, is how it goes.
Yeah, I know. And this is where us as stalwart fanboys of Juventus that live and breathe, as opposed to some guy who works in Vancouver that may or may not play football. Who knows? I mean, this is where we can deep dive and be like, you guys are nuts. And in this case, I don't know. I think they gotta watch. They gotta pay attention to Gatti. They're not paying attention close enough. That's all I gotta say. EA employees, EA Sports Vancouver. Pretty sure that's who it is. Pay attention to this kid. Next patch. Do something about it. 76. Also, tying with him, we got DeCilio.
I think he needs to be lower rated. He got a 0 pretty much rating change. That's what he was last year, and this is what he is this year. Granted, he didn't play at all, so they really can't base it off anything. But when he played very little before he got injured, and it wasn't the best.
Yeah. Gatti is clearly better than DeCilio. And that's where I get hung up on these ratings. Like, come on, man. You're going to say Gatti and DeCilio are both 76. Not a chance. Not a chance. But that's what it is. I'm not going to agree with that one either. Let's see who's next. Nicolo Fagioli at a 77. Any contention?
No, I don't mind the rating. The thing that confuses me is the stats are pretty much they're pretty spot on, but if you compare them to McKenny's stats, it seems like McKenny's stats are a little bit more well-rounded. Well, I think Fagioli is pretty much a similar character or similar player, and that he's well-rounded in pretty much everything. I feel like
we don't have the expanded stats like that once you go into the weeds.
Yeah, the in-depth stats and everything, but I feel like that shooting could be a little higher.
Yeah, probably that's what I would say is knock that shooting up to even like a 68. I mean, he had a couple really nice ones. We know he can shoot, but he hasn't consistently shot.
All I'm saying is that long shots, if I go into that game and I don't see them long shots at least minimum like a 75, I'm going to be a little upset.
Yeah, specifically with the long shots. But pretty reasonable. 78's good old Alexandro. That's a bit of a dip as well. That's a -2. And
yeah,
he deserves to be dipped. I don't think there's any contention there. Does he deserve to maybe being lower, or is that good?
I think because I mean he showed up and kind of just did his job. At times it was very, very poor, and we were yelling at him pretty much throughout the whole season. But I think it's fair. He got a -2, and part of that's also because of age, because EA likes to take ratings off just for people getting older as well sometimes.
Yeah, and that's paying respect to the veterancy there as well, because again, I think Gatti is better than Sandro currently, but the ratings here don't say so. This is where I get hung up. But you think it's
Yeah.
fair? I think he should be lower personally.
I would say he probably should be minimum the same rating as Gatti. So if Gatti's going to be 76, he should be at least 76, if not
Yeah.
lower.
I think they should meet at 77. Call it fair. Move on. All right. 78, Moise Keane. I'm actually a little disappointed in this. I think he should at least be an 80. Again, disrespect. Nobody's respecting Moise.
Yeah, I think he should be an 80 rated. I'm not sure. I believe he's a non-rare. I think he should be at least a rare gold card. And that physicality needs to be up. The guy's an absolute tank when he's on the field. I would say minimum 80 physicality.
Yeah. I can't agree with this one. I'm sorry. Physicality, absolutely. Shooting.
We know.
It's okay. He's not the greatest. Pace is decent. Passing, sure, because he doesn't play a passing game. Dribbling, okay. Defense. The physicality, absolutely. EA, pay attention to this guy as well. Gatti, Keane, take notes. 79, Mattia Perrin, our backup goalkeeper, which actually not a bad rating for the backup.
They got the haircut.
Yeah,
they got the haircut in there. Fresh new cut.
Yeah, even from last year. So I think it's pretty fair. He's technically playing less, but he's playing for a better team, playing more important matches. Yeah, it's decent. Pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fair rating. Pretty much every time he's come in, he's stepped up to the plate and taken over for Tech. We call him the best backup goalkeeper in the Serie A for a reason.
Yeah. Good start for pretty much any other team. All right. Our first 81, we have the Milkman. Pretty fair. I actually would have probably put him at an 80 myself because of shooting, maybe drop it down a bit. But yeah, Frankie, what do you think on that?
Yeah, so this is another case of he's old, so they're gonna tank his pace, and his rating's gonna get a bit of a change. I believe he actually got, was it an upgrade?
Was it an upgrade?
Let me take a look. Yeah, he got a +2 rating, so he was he was 79 last year.
Yeah, which is I thought is pretty fair, 79. But here he is. He's at an 81.
I don't know if he did as much to deserve an upgrade. I think it could also be part of like hey, he's joined Juve, let's give him a +2 because we're partnered with Juve kind of deal.
Yes, it could very well be that. So the political take. Also at 81, the captain, Danilo.
Yeah, and our first rare gold card that we're going to be seeing here is actually our captain, Danilo. I think it's pretty well deserved. He came in when Bonucci wasn't stepping up at all as our captain and kind of took over the armband, is now just leading the team from the back.
And that's a +1 from last year. I still think that he probably deserves a little bit more, like that physicality. I know he's not like the big, strong guy, but he's doing the slide tackles. He is getting his body involved. He doesn't get that injured considering his age as well. Like, yeah, he gets his knocks, but I don't know. Give that guy an 82. If you're going to knock Milik up too, Danilo's definitely deserving of at least a 2.
Yeah. And very new, we see here that he's actually played as a center back this year because of last year. So last year in FIFA 23, he was a right back, but he could be converted to a center back. And this year we got him as just a pure center back.
Yeah, very true. All right. 82, Paul Pogba. Now this one could be controversial. Some would probably say he's not worth anything. Some would probably say, like, why? He's at least an 86. He was 85 last season, so this is a -3.
Yeah. So this is a big downgrade for Paul. He was injured pretty much the whole season, so I think it's pretty fair. He kind of just didn't do much. Yeah, when he came on the field, we were all kind of hopeful that he would do something, and just kind of scared he'd get injured. But
yeah,
pretty fair. Passing,
he's got the trait. Like the little diamond there, right? He's got that extra trait.
Yeah, so that's like I believe they're called the play styles. I think it's
Yeah.
the play styles plus. I think that's I believe that's a Travella shot.
Okay. So I mean, those players have special abilities as well. So at least they're recognizing that he does have those abilities, which is nice because when he does play, he really does mix it up a bit. So in that regard, I'm kind of happy that yeah, they're recognizing the skill that he has, but also recognizing that the guy don't play.
Yeah.
So let's see, because he's 82, which I consider personally 82 for me is like where the good players start, like the actual like legit good player. So let's see. Locatelli getting an 82. And this is where I start thinking like Pogba when he does play is clearly better than Locatelli. Locatelli though plays week in and week out. How do you call that fair? I don't know. I
Uh,
personally think he's maybe a bit less than that, but what do you think?
I think so. Last year, Loca didn't have the best season. I believe he had like a pretty much a standard Locatelli season. Uh, I think it's a fair for him to stay the same rating because he really didn't progress much, but he didn't really do any worse than he was been doing prior.
I feel like he was overrated last year, and they didn't want to knock him.
Yeah, defending
Perhaps
physicality, I think, is
a little high,
a little high.
but
I'll
he is.
probably
I don't know. He's scrappy too.
defending. Maybe I'd probably like leave, but physicality. I mean, we know he goes for those slide tackles. I'd probably put it down a little bit, but it might be something like the aggression stat or something that's
Yeah,
boosting his rating.
knock the dribble a touch and maybe a point off passing because I mean he can pass, but he's just a very direct passer. I don't know. I just think I mean I love the guy. I just think he's more an 80-81, but that's fine. Pogba, Locatelli, same rating. Beating both of them out is Dusan Vlahovic at an 83. Pretty decent stats. No defending stats. Physicality 82, which can be debated. Frankie, what do you think?
Yeah, so he actually got a downgrade last year. He was very highly rated because this is the 80 million striker. We're over here rated him very highly, but poor season last season. Didn't very do much. Was supposed to be sold in the summer, but yeah, I mean that defending stat pretty much tells you the kind of striker he is.
Yeah, very true. But I mean, 83 is probably the way he's been playing.
I
Sure.
think it's fair. I think it's
Yeah,
fair.
I'm okay with that one. Kostic, however, I am not okay with. He is also an 83. Is this just like the Serbian discount here? Because they are not they are not the same rating. They can't be.
So I think it's kind of like the idea that Kostic last year was an 85 because of his year that he had with Frankfurt, and this year they're like he played nowhere near that level as he did with Frankfurt. Got to give him a -2 rating. And
85 is that like 85 is like you are a good you are a very good player, you're like at the top, right? You can't again like certain players they just overrated. Again, I'm not trying to trash the guy, but when you put Vlahovic at 83, Kostic is not as good.
yeah,
You can't. It doesn't make sense.
I would say 82, maybe even an 81 rated,
Yeah,
and -4. That defending's way too high though. 70, the guy didn't really do much defending last year.
and he can only dribble in a straight line, right? So his dribbling maybe overinflated.
Yeah, passing I think is pretty fair.
Yeah, and his pace is
Pace is a little high I
a
think
little
as
high.
well
Yeah,
because the guy is aging as well. I would probably lower pace, lower defending, leave passing, and shot maybe take down like 2 points. because I mean he shoots, but it's like hardly ever.
Fodder.
He's
It's
only
fodder.
he's all
Yeah.
yeah. It's usually just fizzles out.
I mean, he has had a couple nice shots. Let's not take it away, but he's not known for it. Okay, who's next? Gleason Bremer, 84. Pretty solid. I'm happy with that, actually.
Yeah, I mean it's your standard defender. The guy's just he's got pace. He's good at defending, and he's very physical. Apart from that, he doesn't need to do much else. That's just kind of what he is.
Yep, like it. That's an easy one. Also at 84, Adrian Rabiot.
Well deserved.
Yeah,
I think it's well deserved.
That's fair. I'd like to maybe see him at an 85 just because he's such a tank and the minutes that he puts in. But it would be hard to find like those extra little bits to give him. I don't know. That's pretty fair.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty fair. Maybe shooting up a little bit because he scored quite a few goals for us last season.
It would be in the heading stats, though. I would think.
Yeah, so the heading would be heading would be, I believe, is part of defense technically or physicality. Okay. It's like heading accuracy.
Yeah,
but I think it's a pretty fair card.
Pretty fair. Okay, who's next then? That is Freddie Church. Our boy Key is also at an 84. Yeah, I think that's good considering the season that he had. I can't really. Yeah, they kept him even because I know he's still good. He just got injured.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. You know, like you said, guy was injured. He came in kind of like later on in the season and just kind of like played.
Yeah.
So you can't really change him too much.
I'm happy because I mean, hard bias, obviously on Chiesa on my part. So I'm trying to stay reserved. 84. Okay, and this is our number one. Wojciech Szczesny, who I always say Tech because I can't say his whole name properly. Who can? This is our boy at 86. This is actually a big number. I'm actually a little surprised, but Frankie, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fair rating. The guy played well, even during the World Cup. He was playing amazing, which takes you factor into a lot of these ratings as well as the national team performance. I think he pretty much, he deserves to be our highest rated player because I mean, when he was playing, he was keeping us in a lot of these games. Along with our defense, was just keeping us in these games.
Yeah, very good points. So he was an 86 last year as well. Yeah, I mean,
maybe deserves an upgrade.
In terms of keepers, though, that's up there. Yeah, because the top keeper is probably an 88. I'm gonna guess without checking.
I believe highest rated is 90 or 91, and it's probably like
Donnarumma.
It's probably like Donnarumma or like Courtois.
Yeah. Okay, somebody will fact check us on that anyways. Throw that in the comments and let us know. But yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. I'm happy. So a few controversies overall. What do you think? Just the squad as a whole. You happy with it this year?
Yeah, I'm happy. We got a few newer guys that are getting their first kind of like experience being in like an EA type game. So I think it's a big for them. It's doing well, you know. So hopefully they can improve and get them cards up a little bit more. But yeah. I'm pretty happy with the squad.
Looking for the mid-season updates with the improved stats. So that's the squad. If you check on the site, like the EA site, there's a couple players in there that I purposely excluded. Those would be Piaka. See the Polish? I can't.
I think it's like Żaka.
Piaka. I know. I'm butchering this one. Make fun of me. Dash. I know is usually the name butcher, but I'm doing it today. And the other one was Bonucci. And I'm like, I mean, we're not going to talk about Bonucci.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. That's it. Let us know what you think, of course. If you think me or Frankie are completely off our tree, I think EA is off their tree. If you agree with anything, or we're all a bunch of idiots because we care about some make-believe video game player ratings. Let us know. But if you do care about the make-believe video game ratings and actually want to play, Frankie, Where do we go?
So yeah, you can go ahead and scan that QR code in the top left and head on over to the Discord and go ahead and head into that Pro Clubs channel where we're gonna hopefully, according if everything goes well, get started on Friday.
Yep. And I mean, meet us there on Friday because, again, if you know, the EA servers hang in and everything connects and works well, because I mean it is pre-release, we will be streaming it. So stay tuned for that. We'll give the heads up. We're obviously gonna test it out, so we'll know sooner than later, anyways, once the game releases. So join us there. Again, let us know how you feel. Like and subscribe to the video. Frankie, thank you so much. This is your basically pre-recorded debut with us here. So yeah, thank you. And he's the captain. So now you know who it is. You know who to yell at when he subs you off, even though you've been the star of the game, and you go storming off like Ronaldo and throwing a hissy fit. That's the guy you do it to. So again, thank you very much. That's all. And we'll catch you on the next one, or maybe on Pro Teams.